G'day, I'm Pete. I'm the Aussie Bush Cop. In 2012 I retired from the New South Wales Police for mental health reasons, and I took the drastic decision to move to King Island and become a homesteader. And this is what I do, collect eggs, and now I'd like to share with you some of my stories. Hello everybody, thanks so much for joining with me, and I'm going to share you another story about my time in the New South Wales Police Force. You're probably aware that one of the things that police really don't want to happen is a siege. Sieges are very expensive because they're by nature a prolonged event, and so you try and be nice and calm and bring the thing to a speedy resolution. And this particular story was, you might say, on the edge or the beginning of a possible siege, and I did my best to alleviate that, and I think in the end I was able to do that. What happened was that this happened during the day, which was a good thing. It's always good when things happen during the day, I think, because it's easier to see. Anyway, this fellow who lived in a public housing flat, he was on the ground floor, and I'm not sure why, but he rang the local police station and said, the first person that comes through the door is going to get it. And that was said in an aggressive manner. And when he said going to get it, I don't think it was a box of chocolates, it was something bad. So we were dispatched to the address. I didn't know this bloke. So we got there, and he didn't have a mobile phone, but it was one of those cordless phones that used to be around this particular time. And he's on this cordless phone, and he would come, and my partner and I just stood out the front of his flat, and he would come to the front door, and he would, bellow through the front door, through the fly screen door. First person to come through the door is going to get it. And so then I was deliberately very relaxed and even leaning back and very nonchalant. And eventually he started to open the door. So when he thought he wasn't getting much of a reaction from me, because that's what he wanted a reaction, he would open the fly screen door, stick his head out, and just kept on repeating the same words. The first one through the door is going to get it. So I maintained my calm, almost disinterested disposition. He came out where just immediately in front of his front door was a small concrete veranda that had no walls on it, just a concrete area. And in the end, he was coming out further and further onto the veranda to speak to me, but he was still on the phone too. And so he did that a number of times, and I'm thinking, well, I'm going to have to, just try and grab him the next time he comes out. Now, I might say I'm leanly built. I can move pretty fast when I want to. And the next time he came out, the door shut behind him, and I just launched at him. And I took hold of his jumper. Must have been in the cooler months, because I remember he had a jumper on, and when I grabbed hold of it, the two big handfuls of jumper, and started pulling him towards me to effect the arrest, the jumper just kept on stretching and stretching. And you might have seen some of those Warner Brothers type cartoons where something like that happens and the jumper stretches. And I was thinking very logically in my mind, how much can this jumper stretch and he doesn't come with me? Because I had my full weight going backwards and dragging him towards me. Now, I know all this happens in fractions of seconds maybe, but you're probably aware of the experience that then seems like it's happening in slow motion. So anyway, I'm moving backwards and he's not coming, and then suddenly the laws of physics kicked in, so to speak, and he started moving towards me. What I then did, I spun like a ballerina, and I used the momentum of him coming towards me to spin him around, so that he was I'd probably say moved in a 180-degree direction, and he came, and I spun him around, and then behind me, maybe 1 metre behind me, was a corrugated iron fence about 6 feet high. And then he came into contact with that corrugated iron fence. Now, one of the rules that we operate under is that we tell people that they're under arrest. Might seem like a superfluous thing to say because it's apparently pretty obvious you're under arrest most of the time. But we are required to tell people that they're under arrest and what for. And so he still had hold of this mobile phone, and later on I heard when we went back to the police station, the police lady said she heard him continuing to repeat these threats. She then heard me grabbing hold of him. There was a muffled sort of sound, and then the sound of him coming into contact with a corrugated iron fence, and then my deadpan voice saying, "My name's Senior Constable Gillett and you're under arrest." And so that's what she knew what the noise was about. Now, you might think, why did I arrest him, or what power did I have to arrest him? And they're very pertinent questions. And the answer is that he was, there's a general power of arresting someone when there's a breach of the peace, or there's likely to be a breach of the peace. Now, what he was doing was a breach of the peace, but more importantly, we have a power of arrest under the Mental Health Act. And that power of arrest is exactly the same as if you were arresting a murderer, meaning that you can just use all reasonable force to effect the arrest. And that's why he was arrested. And you might think, well, why bother arresting him in the first place? Who really cares? The answer to that is that once we're called and he makes threats, the first one to come through the door is going to get it. Like I said before, he wasn't about to be selling, giving you a box of chocolates. So who knows, he might go to his door. It could be a little kid that kicks a ball into his backyard and he goes to the front door to retrieve his ball and ask permission to get his ball, and who knows? You simply cannot ignore it, that when he makes threats like that, he's got to go into custody, and not into really police custody. He was taken up to the local hospital for a mental health assessment. So that might answer some of your questions about why we did it and under what authority we did do that. Anyway, I don't ever recall going there again, so maybe the treatment or whatever he got at the local hospital might have settled him down, and he was able to live his life peacefully from that point on. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.